And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Fishing Podcast. My name is Jay Angel, and I have a very special guest. I have a guy on here. I can't even tell you how many years. It's more than 25 I've known this guy. We fished together numerous times. 2 summers ago, he took me and my son out fishing on Shabana Lake, and my son just had a great time. I mean, he still hasn't stopped talking about it. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome Jim Kopjo to the Let's Talk Fishing Podcast.
Good evening, Jay. Good to see you.
Good evening, man. It's good to have you. I know we
couple of little glitches in the matrix, but no worries.
Yeah, this was a process. And I always call something a process when it doesn't work right the first time. But you know what? You never forget. It's one thing they taught us in the military is you don't ever give up.
Nope. Improvise and adapt. So the people can't see this, but we got the phone linking and the laptops, and we got 2-3 devices to get this happening.
And for those of you guys who don't know Jim Kopjo, Jim Kopjo is a proud veteran, just like me, and just like a lot of you guys who watch the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. But Jim is also a crappie. He called himself the crappie professor. And I don't know anybody who has earned that distinction more than Jim Kopjo. So without further ado, I give you Jim Kopjo. So, Jim, why don't you, man, I don't even know where to start.
I guess a little to get it kind of rolling. Jay and I met years ago. We used to guide on a lot of similar bodies of water here in Illinois. We've got an outdoor show coming up that we can showcase that as well.
I would like to tell the listeners at the Northern Illinois Sports Show that Jim's talking about is going to take place January 13th to the 16th of 2022. That's 4 days of sports shows. And it's going to take place at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake, Illinois.
January 13th to 16th.
It's 4 days of sports shows, guys. And
but
Jim
yeah, we started out fishing Shabana Lake, got pretty popular with hitting the crappie there, and then just branched out. We're hitting 3 lakes now. We're working Evergreen, Heideke, and Shabana. So, we've grown the business. We're running the business on a custom rebuilt pontoon boat. All the modern electronics, Garmin Live Scope, side imaging, down imaging. So, yeah, it's been a ride, Jay. It's been a process.
And do you still have that Sylvan boat?
I still have that for research and development purposes. Yeah, I still run around in that thing once in a while.
Oh man, we had some great times in that boat back in the day.
Oh yeah, walleye fishing out in the deep trees. Oh yeah.
Also, when you would motor up to me and I'd ask you where the hell you're catching fish.
Yeah. That was a good exchange of information back in the day. That was fun.
It was. So you're going to be at the Northern Illinois Sports Show, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I am.
And you're going to be one of the speakers there.
I believe so. I think they've got me on the docket a couple times, so we'll discuss what we do and where we do it. It's a fun time. I mean, like last year, we didn't have too many shows going. No. So at least this year we can get out there, promote product, promote the guide business, and meet and see people we haven't seen in a while. That's the big thing.
Oh yeah. So when you speak, can you give us a little teaser of what you're going to talk about?
Well, we'll probably have the precursor going into spring. So we'll be, even though it'll be winter, we'll be ice fishing. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we use during the spring period, going into the no motor zone or going banging the bank at Heideke, a lot of the submerged timber at Evergreen. It's amazing that the fish don't know what lake they're in, so they respond to these patterns. So once you figure that out, don't think too much about it. Just remember that they are fish, and they just looking for that next meal as they're getting on the bank, thinking about the spawn.
So if you're talking about spring at the sports show, what kind of things are you going to be using to catch crappies in the springtime?
We've got a great product line from Whack 'em and Stack 'em. A lot of these really small baits. Huh? If you can see, it's almost like a little guppy body.
Oh yeah, look at that thing.
And they're only about 1 inch long. We got some really good colors. He makes his custom baits. So I think this color is called Cajun Cricket. That's
Ooh.
one of the better color patterns. He also has some other things called suicide minnows.
Oh man.
So it's
Oh,
kind of like a pearlized white belly with a green back, little red fleck in there. And we just put it on a small. Go ahead, Jay.
How many fingers does that thing have off the back?
It's just like two, like a regular split tail minnow.
Wow, almost like a
And a lot of them have just a single tail.
Nice.
Just a miniature shad body.
Yeah, about to say that split tail looks a lot like a Gamakatsu Zeko.
You know what it really looks like, and I hate to bring up an opposing or another product line, but the gulp minnow.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter, man. Gulp minnows have caught countless fish over the years.
Oh yeah, they work. They work.
Guy I had on last night was talking about redfish on. He says, I'm not sponsored by Pure Fishing, but Gulp, their stuff just plain catches. He said, I have to have it in my boat when I'm fishing redfish tournaments. Because it just plain out catches fish, and they do, But
one of the products that I hooked up with years ago that is still a staple in my arsenal is the Cubby Mini Mite.
Oh man,
they were one of the first people that approached me and said, you know what? We'd like to, sponsor you and give you some product to talk about. It was like I was already using them.
Norm Hartman, right?
Hartman. Yes, Norm Hartman. Yeah. Yes. And
how many mini mites do you think you and I sold?
Oh my gosh!
At Shabanaw's Lakeside.
Yeah, cases.
They had that big case, and they were constantly filling it back up. And I'd go in there, I'd buy 20 of them. You'd go in there, you'd buy 20 of them.
Yeah, we did well, and they still work. So
I like it because that little bitty thing was so responsive that if there, even if you didn't think there was any chop on the water, it's still down there doing this,
Yeah, the coffee jitters.
Yes, I like to call that the old drunk in the morning,
There you go.
I can't stop my hand.
There you go.
That's good action for walleyes, though.
So, talking about spring crappie, we'll discuss on what we do with our electronics to help us, be on the hunt, spend less time looking, more time fishing. So we encompass the whole process.
What? Sorry, I'm having to block a user here. I said loser, and that's actually what I meant. Some guy just came in here and says Adolf Hitler Nazi Party kill all Jews. What?
Wow.
Block.
Yeah. Delete.
Wow.
So the show will be in January. We'll be able to talk about ice fishing a little bit, but I think it's more set up to get the juices going into spring.
Yes. Yes, that would, spring is just synonymous with crappies with me. Down here it happens in January.
Okay.
Right now, well, and the crappies we catch down here are bigger, but they're also more spread out.
Okay, yeah, you don't have the vertical water that we have up north.
No, we don't. We 3 feet of water is about the average, and I fish anywhere from 1 foot to probably 4 feet. If I can find 4 feet of water, I fish it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll talk to Angelo from Whack 'em and Stack 'em. We'll get you a Pro Pack, and this stuff pegged below a bobber.
Oh yeah, he sent me dozens of them. Yeah.
So inside there we've got now this is our summer. This is the summer Pro Pack. I don't want to dump all the tackle out, but you can see nice. It's a little closer to 2 inches.
Yeah, that is.
And we've got a couple different colored jig heads, the popular colors that we run. And then inside here is a little piece of terminal tackle he calls this Jigsaver. It's a little piece of plastic that you put on before your tail.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes back toward the hook. So as you're bumping it around cover and structure, it'll be a little more snag resistant.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you what, all that structure in Shabbat looks like it's a Christmas tree right now.
Oh, yeah.
with all those. They're decorated very well, and a lot of it was from me and you.
And over the years, we've added a lot of habitat, re-enhancing a lot of areas that, it's an ongoing process.
We have, man. Yeah, you were there the day I fell in the ice.
Yes, I was.
During Rock Fest.
I remember you and we actually filmed a couple segments for Midwest Outdoors Magazine out there.
And Mike Custro's show too.
Yes.
On the ice. I didn't know anything about ice. I was just the host. You were the fisherman.
That's a long time ago, Jay.
I was, yeah. Gee, I was a lot skinnier back then. And also one time you took my son and I fishing. You just gave us you gave us an ice hut, and we sat in there and we caught crappies all day long on that thing. And you came and got us when we were done. And he thought that was
showing you how to use the flasher, and
he thought that was the coolest thing ever. And his mom called me. You took him ice fishing? Yes, I did.
Yeah, she was a little upset with you. You walked out on the lake.
Well, I said, well, then take me to court. By the way, the judge does ice fish.
No, we're pretty safe. We check things.
Well,
I'm not the first guy out there, but
no,
I get out there on the early ice.
And it was below zero that day. It's been cold for a long time. We had to drill through 14 inches ice, and
yeah, we were good.
That's safe, man. You could have driven a truck out there.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have, but you probably could have by normal, looking at it and saying, okay, it should hold up the truck. But
and I have been in a truck before that went through the ice. So
nah.
I've done a lot of things. But so do you have any other products you want to show us?
We're running the Bink spoons. We just kind of finished up the season, so I know he was on a little while ago, but boy, in the fall, these he had a couple patterns. I don't know if he
oh yeah, look at that.
It's hard to, the color's not coming through, but it has a really good,
it has a green hue here. It has a green hue. Yeah, there you go.
It has a there you go.
I was showing that to my friend who fishes redfish tournaments, the half-ounce ones, and he said that would be perfect, man. That's Redfish City right there.
There's another color that's been really good. It's called Bluegill. It's kind of a yellow with a little bit of orange near the head.
And what do you have on the hook there?
It's just a protector so you don't hook yourself.
I could have used that more than a couple times.
So it's a little device that just covers the hooks and they don't get all tangled in your box.
They don't get tangled and you don't get them in your fingers. And
I just have them in a small tackle box.
Boy, I've had more than a couple hooks stuck in my fingers.
So this way, you can throw it to your partner in the back of the boat. You can pick out the color that's working, and you don't get hung up.
That is so cool, man. So
they're actually right now on the lakefront. I think you remember doing this as well when you lived in the area. The lakefront perch are turning on.
Oh man, I bet you those big spoons would be Perch City down there, huh?
Perfect. So
and even your whack 'em and stack 'em jigs you could catch perch on.
Oh yeah, that 2-inch minnow. He calls it a suicide minnow. 1/16 ounce jig. You can tip it, with a fathead or leave it alone. Send it down there to the aggressive school and clean
so
house.
So they're catching perch on the lakefront right now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's incredible, man. Back in the 80s when I was living in South Bend, Indiana, we would go to southern Michigan, Michigan City, St. Joe, Benton Harbor, and we would catch, some of the biggest perch I've ever seen, and I grew up going up to Canada.
Yeah, there's still guys actually with our warmer temps. We're not really close to ice fishing yet, but there's guys on the Illinois River that are doing very well for the sawguy.
Oh, I bet.
So we're kind of like right in the middle. It's not cold enough for ice, and it's right on being too cool to be out in a boat. It's right in the middle.
Well, I lived for 7 years right there in Peru, a mile and a half from the Bartow's Landing. And
yeah, you'd be out in your boat.
as long as the river wasn't iced in, and those barges made sure that the river wasn't iced in, I'd be out there in my boat. Sometimes, you have to just go out there and fight the ice and find yourself a place to drop your jigs.
Right. Yeah,
But
there's no ice now. We're looking at well, today was kind of cold. We were in like 13 or 15, but we have some 40s and 50-degree air temperatures coming up. So
yeah, I think crazy.
It's just weird.
That is crazy. So are you going to have a booth at the Northern Illinois Sports Show too?
Yeah, we're going to have all the peripheral stuff, advertising our business partners, the guide business. We got a lot of eye candy this year to share, with everybody running live scope and the side imaging units.
So much fun.
It is. It's actually taken and heightened my game, or gotten me a little more proficient out on the water, because you want to stay one step ahead of the next guy.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you this. If you get out there to Northern Illinois Sports Show, stop in the Jim Kopjo's booth and pick his brain about crappies. The guy is an encyclopedia. Actually, I don't even like using the word encyclopedia. He's a Wikipedia of crappie fishing nowadays. And he's probably got 40 years of crappie fishing under his belt.
And some days it feels like more.
And some days you feel like, geez, have I ever done this before?
Yeah, you know what? There are some days that you stumble, but it's a gas. I really enjoy the ride. This thing that fishing has done for me. It's pretty cool. You
know what really impresses me is, since I've left, Heideke Lake has come into its own. I fished Heideke Lake, since the 90s. And I've seen it change. But what you guys are catching there now is so much bigger than the stuff I used to catch. Well, I used to catch big walleyes way back in the day. And back when it was a power lake, I would catch huge stripers. I'm not hearing about those anymore, but the crappies there are just phenomenal.
I can send you a copy of their stocking report. They have a pretty, extensive stocking that they do annually. And you'd be surprised the numbers of fish that they're putting in there. I think with COVID, though, most lakes, even down far south as Shelbyville, Clinton, Rend, everyone's seeing the same problem. There's so many of us, and it was an activity we were all allowed to do during COVID, was fish. So all these lakes are really getting hit a lot harder than they used to. And then you just factor in the modern electronics. Everybody is a much more proficient angler than we used to be. So a lot of conservation's got to be kind of taught or instructed, because we're actually seeing and catching fish where we never used to fish, or we didn't even know the fish were there. So now we're finding those wintering holes, or finding those fish that were unharassed all winter. And if you're not careful, you're going to exploit them.
So Jim, if somebody wanted to book you for next year as a guide, how would they get a hold of you?
The easiest thing is either go on Facebook and Google the name, or just call me on my cell, 708-601-1962.
Okay, you heard that here, folks. Give Jim Kopjo a call. I've been out with him, with my wife and my son, and you're never going to find a more attentive guide. When I was working offshore, I chartered a lot of guides. It felt good after 17 years of guiding to actually have somebody guide me. And Jim was one of the more, I'm not even going to say one of the more, probably the most accommodating. And the trip was about me. It was not about how great Jim Kopjo was. That's something you don't see in a whole lot of guides, since now I fished with a whole lot of them. It really felt good to, have him cater to my son and teach my son the stuff that I didn't know.
Well, I appreciate it. Very kind words. Thanks, Jay.
And thank you for taking us out, because I know he still talks about that trip. And that's
I don't fish when I have customers out. I want to make sure that they're learning it and so that they can come back on their own and do the same thing that we're doing that day. And I try to make sure that they're confident that they can come back and get the most bang for their dollar, and come back and do it on their own without me being, over their shoulder, making sure a little to the left, a little to the right, stuff like that.
And that's the hallmark. In my not so humble opinion, I think that's the hallmark of a great guide. That's the one thing I didn't tell people about guiding when I was guiding. When they say, Jay, what does it take to make it as a guide? I'm thinking about doing this. I wouldn't tell them that part. It's
If
not
you
about
don't
you.
enjoy meeting people every day, I still get a huge thrill that,
Yes.
and I tell people I'm making new friends every day. That's what I'm doing. So
Yes, and it was fun, when you have a little kid out and he sees his bobber go down and you tell him, like, okay, start reeling, reel, and he reels and he realizes that he has actually caught something.
yeah, and to see that little light go on in the back of their head that they did that wasn't mom or dad or grandma and grandpa, that was him or her. They learned a new skill that now that brings a lot of enjoyment. And from then on that you've got them hooked, and they're probably not going to get into a lot of the other ills of society, that they now have a productive pastime that they can pursue. And maybe not take it to the nth degree that we have, where it's now an obsession. But
Yeah, you can't think about anything else, and your wife's like, I wish you would talk about something else other than fishing once in a while. Well, don't worry, because deer hunting season is upon us.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to sell the boat and buy a couple guns.
A couple guns. Yeah. Oh my God. And now instead of $30 lures, it's going to be $600 guns.
Oh, that's going to go over real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to the shows. We didn't have a lot of shows last year, but we're going to showcase a lot of product, and really give the people that come out, the full Monty. Everything that we do, we're going to discuss it, show them how to do it so they can go out there and enjoy the outdoors,
And guys, if you come up to Jim Kopjo's booth and you ask him how to do a polymer knot, he's gonna take out his fishing rod and show you how to do it. That's just the kind of stuff he does. And he'll just do an impromptu seminar right there and then for the 5 guys who are over at his booth. And like I said, man, book a trip with him. I don't care how much you think you know about crappie fishing. He's got a different perspective on it, on the things that you do. And, I've been fishing for crappie since I was 4, and he taught me a lot about crappies. And then, of course, every time I went fishing with Jim, my dad wanted to go fishing with me afterwards so he could learn more about crappies too.
Yeah, your father lived on a very good lake in Florida.
Yes, he did. He lived on the Harris Lake chain. Actually, on Griffin
the tournament
Lake.
trail, Crappie USA tournament trail, went there every spring.
And so did the Bassmaster Elites, and so did the Bassmaster Opens. And
I do remember that.
I was down there quite often, man, because he'd take me out and we'd use grass shrimp.
Okay.
He would go to a spot, then we go to his next spot, and we catch 12-inch crappies here, 12-inch crappies over there.
Well, I remember him telling me a story that they were just sitting on the end of his dock catching crappie in the spring.
Yes.
That's got to be fun. That you didn't have to motor across the lake in a boat. You just sit right there on the end of your dock.
He said one day he was doing that, and Shaw Grigsby came down. So Shaw Grigsby was probably practicing for the Bassmaster Elites, and I said,
pitching and flipping your father's dock.
Yeah, he asked if he could fish through, and my dad said, okay. He reeled in. How's the season going, Sean? He's well, this is the first one of the year. I'll never forget that conversation with my dad about Shaw Grigsby coming to his dock.
Right.
In Griffin Lake, man. That's
not too many people have that story to share.
And when he told me he was moving away from Griffin Lake, I'm like, why? Do you just not want me to come and visit you? Are you going to move someplace stupid like Massapequa, New York again? And he said, no, I'm actually moving to northern Arkansas, and I'm going to live on a small little pond. And there weren't even any crappies in that pond. It was about a 50-acre pond, So he bought crappies, and I went there, and my son and I put in crappie structures in his little bay. We put in 50 of them.
Okay.
It's one thing you taught me. You got to think big.
Yep.
You can't have just one single structure out there and think crappies are going to come.
Well, that was a project you and I got involved with too out at Shabana with the Shabana Lake Sportsman's Club, was placing trees.
Yes, we placed lots of trees.
Yeah.
Lots of trees, and you had contraptions.
Well, like some of that stuff.
Hoses.
Yeah, believe it or not, some of that stuff, Jay, that we were really way ahead of the learning curve with that. We were designing and placing plastic habitats back in the early 90s, and nobody else had really thought about that.
Well, let's put credit where credit is due. You designed that.
Well,
You made it, and we and the Shabana Sportsman's Club helped you put it in.
I could show you some of that stuff with the side imaging or the live scope, and you wouldn't believe it, but it's holding fish, and I guide over that stuff all the time.
I bet you do.
And I mean, my children's children will be fishing over that stuff.
Man, we put that thing back there with Mike Cronick and
oh yeah,
all those guys.
Yeah.
Back in the day, some of them are no longer with us, like Tony Cox.
Yeah, Harold Overton.
Oh, Harold Overton, yeah, no longer with us.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, man. That was back in the 90s. Before I had
so we're looking forward to the season coming up, the show season.
Yes. Like I said, guys, Jim will be there at the Northern Illinois Sports and Outdoors Show. Come on and see him. That's going to be in Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake, Illinois, January 13th through the 16th. And something else I want you guys to do when you go to that show, go on into the Grant Rods booth and tell them Jay sent you. They're going to put some of the best rods in the world in your hand. You're not going to believe the difference when you put one of those rods in your hands. It gives me goosebumps just to think of it now. And also, it kind of makes me mad to know that I don't have a boat right now, but I have some really cool rods. But I have a lot of people around here who will take me because everybody down here has a boat, except for me, of course.
Right.
Hint for you guys who are listening who like own boat dealerships and stuff. I'll promote the heck out of your product.
Well, hopefully you get back on your feet, get to a good 90% where you can be mobile and get out there and enjoy the outdoors again.
Oh yeah, I went hunting a couple weekends ago. I'm going to try to go fishing this weekend.
Okay.
Make all kinds of phone calls. Get down there to the coast and get some redfish. And
there you go.
Boy, I tell you, redfish, those things taste good, Jim. I know you're one of the few people up there in Illinois, other than me, who actually eats fish.
We're empty nesters now, Jay, so we don't.
Oh.
Yeah. The kids have moved on, and we don't keep near as many fish as we used to. It's just the wife and I, so there's a lot less harvest going on here.
Yeah, but you earned that. Well, my youngest son is graduating from college this year.
Yeah, we're getting old, aren't we, Jay?
We're getting old. Old. But hey, Jim, do you have any shout outs you'd like to make?
Well, of course, yeah. Whack 'em and Stack 'em baits out of Indiana. Angelo Garcia, a fine product. And he's got a lot of bass tackle as well. It isn't just panfish tackle, but I do love the fact that I can call him up with a custom color, and he can, pour me custom baits that I'm going to use. Kevin Baker from Bink Spoons is another business partner. Great product. I got turned on to those spoons some 30 plus years ago down in Arkansas, fishing on Lake Norfolk.
You used to go down there and fish Lake Norfolk. I remember.
Yeah, and we brought the smallest spoons, the 1/8 ounce weight spoons, to ice fish with. Instead of using just Swedish pimples in the deep trees out at Shabana, we were using Bink spoons, and it had a whole different profile and fall rate than the other spoons on the market. And we had that to ourselves for quite a while.
I bet you did.
Lake County Water Sports. They'll be up there at the show. The great business partner. They helped me to take care of my outboards and fabricated a lot of things that are on my custom built pontoon boat that I'm guiding on.
Guys,
they helped me out a lot. So
I've been on that pontoon boat. It is the most comfortable. You can bring your family, even if you just want to fish. Your family can just sit there and enjoy. Daughters can sunbathe or get on there.
Well, that's the thing. We took half the furniture off and made half of the boat for fishing. The other half is for the sunset cruises, if you will. So a lot of times when we bring out the families, mom and some of the daughters or the younger kids don't want to fish, but dad can fish. The sons in the family that are really into fishing can fish, and you can have the passive passengers, or you can have the diehards. And it fits that need. It's a pretty cool fishing platform.
It is, and Jim launches that thing just like it's a V-Bon or a V-Haul.
Yeah, we got a lot of hours logged on it.
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, how is he going to launch that thing? I'm like, Jim's done it a million times.
Yep. And we get down on Lake Evergreen that also has a 10 horsepower restriction in place. And yeah, it's a very nice platform to guide out of.
Boy, I like that. I liked that Lake Evergreen. It has a really nice campground there too.
Yes.
I just spent many a nights camping there and waking up in the morning and, not having to drive an hour and a half to Lake Evergreen, just drive over to the boat ramp.
Right. Right.
What a cool thing that was. Boy, I spent 4th of July there a couple years in a row. It was great.
Now you didn't have the 4th of July fireworks shooting over the lake like you do out at Shabbona Lake. That's
Yeah.
I've been on the boat and experienced that. The problem is getting out of the parking lot to go home.
I actually did that in Peru, where they're shooting the fireworks over the Illinois River, and we had the spent fireworks falling in my boat.
Well, that's not good.
I couldn't get out of there. I even put down my trolling motor and started bumping other boats out of my way. Get me the hell out of here. This is horrible.
Yep.
Fireworks falling in my boat. You can never do this again.
Right.
Well, hey, you have any more shout outs?
I'm probably forgetting a few. We don't want to forget to mention the Cubby Mini Mite people, Vexen rods and reels. We have a lot of great product that we got from Vexen. They have a lot of the like jigging wrap style stuff that we use through the ice. He has some nice ice rods. Yeah, it's a whole host of business partners that we're going to showcase all that product at the shows coming up.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Jim. And guys, I'd like to tell you, Jim Kopjo is one of the more patient people in the world, because it probably took me 45 minutes to get this show just to work tonight.
It was worth it, right?
Yes, it was. And before I leave, guys, I have to tell you that the Garden State Outdoor Sports Show is going to take place January 6th through 9th of 2022 at the New Jersey Convention and Exposition Center in Edison, New Jersey. And of course, as we have mentioned probably 6 times tonight, the Northern Illinois Sports and Outdoors Show will take place January 13th through the 16th of 2022. That's 4 nights of sports, 4 days and nights of sports shows in the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake, Illinois. And come on out and talk to Jim Kopjo himself. He's going to be there all 4 days, guys. And thank you, Jim.
Thanks for having me on, Jay, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Okay, I will send you a link.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jay. Take care, everybody.
You too. Goodbye.